recently, as I was kind of digging into what Tucker Carlson was saying with Sean Ryan, he was talking about that spirituality
Yeah.
aspect and how far back does this go? And he mentioned the ancient religions, not only Christianity or Judaism, but even with Hinduism and different things like that, how they all talk about these deities and these supernatural beings coming down to earth. They all have some type of origin story. So he was kind of getting at there's a supernatural aspect to this that mixes with spirituality somehow. And I don't know. I mean, have you thought about that and what that means? Because I think to me
Yeah.
that's the biggest question.
Yeah. I find it fascinating, to be honest with you. I think that idea is totally plausible, at least part of it anyway. The idea that people interpreted the phenomena as X and wrote it down as Y, right? But it was this phenomena the whole time, right?
Mm.
And what that phenomena is anybody's guess, but this was how we interpreted it before as these gods. Or it is the gods and the phenomena is them. Like it's, you know
Mm.
what I mean? Like they're projecting it or they're making it or whatever. It's just part of them. If that makes sense too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I find it fascinating. What is the connection? Absolutely. And again, I find his comments, you know, and he's so sure of it. We
Yeah.
have an agreement, right? We being the US government, not just like some people, our government, like who in the government? Like, is there a special office for this? Like, where is this being signed? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
What pen? I want that pen that they signed this with. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know. That's scary. With supernatural forces, what does that even mean? I speculated. I was thinking, I guess my heart, like I was thinking, oh, good. Like, oh, we have a agreement with Jesus. People are like, no, it's demons, Patrick. You're getting it wrong. You don't understand my, oh shit, I don't know. What the hell? He didn't say. He said supernatural forces. Why does your mind go demon, like evil?
Right.
Why can't it be, we're kicking it with Jesus on this? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, dude. Like, it's been a long time since I've gone to church. I used to teach Sunday school actually
Oh.
many, many years ago in a Baptist church for like 3, 4 years, very involved. And, but it's been a while. So like when you hear Tucker talk about that, what do you interpret? When he says supernatural forces and given maybe the history of other things he has spoken about, how do you interpret that? Do you interpret it that the US government is in agreement with like evil beings, like demons, as we would describe them, or what? How do you know what I mean?
Lord, I hope not.
That's what I'm saying. I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds horrible.
I really hope not. I mean, whatever. If this is, whatever life form this is that we talk about when it comes to NHI, as we call them these days, non-human
Yeah.
intelligence, aliens, whatever you want to say, biologics. Maybe some of it is demons, and maybe some of it is interdimensional beings, and maybe some of it is, you know, non-human intelligence that lives in another galaxy and has conquered space. Maybe it's all three, and that's what I kind of wrestle with that. It's like, what are we looking at? What are we dealing with? And if we do have an agreement, then which one is it with? And how long does that agreement last before time's up? You know, and so
And most
that's
importantly, what's in the agreement?
yeah, right.
What
Because
are we
honestly,
agreeing to?
I gotta say it. If you put like the old adage, you put a gun to my head right now, and I have to make a decision on something. My decision would be to say that we absolutely have an agreement with something, some race of non-human intelligence. Because if we didn't, then how could we possibly be okay with abductions if we believe in alien abductions? How can we be okay
Yeah.
with essentially these things flying over our skies and military installations and all these different things anytime they want? There's nothing we can do about it. So is it A, that there's just nothing we can do about it? We're so far behind the eight ball. Maybe that's even scarier if that's the case. If we're so far behind the eight ball that we're just lost. Or
Yeah.
is it B, we let them do their thing. We have our agreement. They're not going to go past that, and we're not going to go past that line. We have our line, and we're not going to cross it. So I guess that's the main question. I tend to go towards B, and I got to tell you, if I'm being honest, I think I'd rather be B, because I really don't want to believe that we are just so clueless that we have no idea what to do. That part scares me.
That's a good point. Just kind of asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's actually,
yeah.
Carl Nell kind of touched on that idea at the SALT conference. He kind of mentioned that a little bit as to, what would prevent disclosure. And that might be one of the scenarios. It's just a unwillingness to acknowledge how helpless we are.
How inferior we are in this situation. I mean, again, if we're saying this is true, that makes sense from a government stand. If you're running the government and you're back there having these meetings, right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It just does. I mean,
you kind of think about it, and maybe to use an analogy, you think about something like a movie like Armageddon or Deep Impact or something like that, or 2012, any disaster movie where the Earth's going to be destroyed. What happens? They don't tell anybody about it because they know there's nothing they can do.
There'll be panic.
Right. So, is that the type of, no, I'm not saying the Earth's going to be destroyed, you know what I mean? But
no,
is that the type of scenario? They know there's nothing they can do about it. They don't have answers on it, so they just keep denying. I don't know.